Hello everybody, welcome to On Blast with MG. I'm MG. Today we're going to do oil change on my 2016 Dodge Ram 1500 Ecodiesel. And we're gonna do it at home, right out here on the street. I get the pleasure of parking on the street every day, so I'm gonna do it right here. What we're gonna use today to do the oil change for everybody out there at home who wants to do it themselves, we're gonna use an oil extractor. I found the easiest way to do oil change on these things. The first or the second time I've done oil change the old-fashioned way by removing the bolt down below, I stripped it and I had to get a new oil pan. So I decided to go to the oil extractor method, which basically it just works off of pump. You pump it, you build up pressure, and it sucks up the oil right from the dipstick right inside there. And it does a pretty good job at it. I measure the oil obviously going in, and I measure it going out, so it takes it pretty much all out. I'll show you guys how to do that. So we have the oil extractor, which you could purchase off of Amazon. I think it ran me about 50 bucks, and it's worked great. One thing with these, I scored mine, so it's easy. It didn't come pre-scored, unfortunately. So what I've done, I don't know if you could still see it, but I scored these lines. Right above the line equals to 1 quart. So I count off all the quarts, so I know exactly how much oil is going in and how much is coming out, so that I'm sure that all of it has come out before. Of course, on your Ecodiesel, you're gonna have to use the Shell Rotella T6 5W40 weight. And because of my AFE oil pan, it gives me a little bit higher capacity, and I use 3 full gallons of the 5W40 oil. I haven't seen any difference in temperature or how it runs. It works pretty well. You could buy these online, the oil, for about $20 plus some change shipped from Amazon. I use also for the people that really care, the oil filters on these Ecodiesels run about 40 bucks if you buy them, you know, OEM brand. I use the EcoGuard, which runs about 10 bucks, so quite a significant difference. I've used it now probably 4 or 5 times, and it works great. You'll want a wrench to take off the oil filter housing. So it's a 27mm wrench that fits perfectly on top of the oil filter and cap, and it will take it off without having to strip it. And then finally, of course, I have my oil pan, which I will pour the oil in, and makes it easier to pour it right back into the bottles to take them in for recycling. Give you a little background about my truck. My truck is a 2016. It has 93,000 miles. I haven't had any problems with it, except for small little things. The oil, actually the 3-way coolant valve that's down here failed, and the water pump failed on it, which were both covered under warranty, were changed by the dealer. I noticed that the reason how I found that was happening is the gas bottle right here. Noticed it was consistently getting low, and as I was walking by the front of the truck, I noticed kind of a sweet coolant smell. So kind of monitored it for a little bit, and I would lose probably about half of the gas bottle about every 2 weeks. So took it in, had it taken care of. Took a few tries though. I'm not gonna lie, those guys out there at the dealerships, they need a little bit of better diagnostics to figure out what's up with these trucks. And the only other problem I've had is the Uconnect, which is the connecting software in the truck. It seems like when it gets hot, it tends to kind of shut off and shut on over and over again. Anyways, well, those are small problems. Overall, I love the truck. It gets great gas mileage, about 28 miles to the gallon on the highway, maybe about 25 average in the city. Pretty nice truck. All right, so let's get going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who haven't done this before, first things off, we want to take off the oil cap right here, oil filler cap, which is right up top on the little cover here. You can see it right there. It's right on the this little cover is removable. It just kind of has a little, you know, sound deafening behind there to keep the engine running a little quieter for the in-cab noise. So I usually take the oil cap off. Most of these trucks should have the sticker on there. They recalled, or actually they put a new bulletin out there that they should use 5W40's full synthetic oil, and the ones that have been attended to have the sticker on them. So take that off, and then go on the other side and take the dipstick out as well. And that way the pressure, if there is any, I'm not sure if there is or not, but I take them out anyways because I use the dipstick. That's where the I'm gonna suck all the oil out of. So anyways, I take that out and set it aside. All right, usually right there. Nice little flat area to store things so you don't lose them. And right before you do this, you should run your vehicle up to temperature. You know, go on the highway, bring it up to temperature, you know, a couple of 100 degrees oil temperature, and then park it and let it sit for at least 15 to 20 minutes to cool down, so all the oil pools down at the bottom of the oil pan, so it's easy for you to, you know, suction it out. Or if you're doing the oil changes the old-fashioned way, it will all come out and you get most of it out, so it's not still, you know, going into the engine. All right, so after you do that, we're gonna go ahead and go and set up our little suction oil extractor machine, and I'll show you guys how that works. Real quick on how to set this guy up. You got 3 tubes, and that's why I bring, see, it's got some oil left over from last time I did this, so we're gonna wipe some of that away so we don't make a mess on the street or on our truck. The way this works, you got 3 tubes with different sizes in diameter, as you can see right there, to fit different oil intake spouts. So both of these work for mine, so I usually use the larger one so I get a really nice good seal, as you can see right there. So we'll leave the pink one on the side. Actually, no, we're gonna use the pink one, and then we're gonna use, this is the main, this is the connecting valve to the actual oil extractor. So you put that in nice and tight, turn it to a nice comfortable position towards the truck, attach the pink end to this part right here to just basically, it elongates it so you have enough reach to go down to your truck, and you're done. Now this end goes right down into your dipstick, and you send it all the way down to the bottom until you feel resistance, and then even try pushing beyond that a little bit to see if you could kind of get it down there deeper in the pan. Usually what I like to do is wipe this stick, wipe this tube down so I don't put any dirt in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I stick it all the way in there. And then before I start sucking oil out, I'm gonna show you guys how to take the oil filter out, with the housing for it is right down in there. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll show you guys that in a second. Okay, to get the oil filter cap off, you're gonna want your 27mm wrench. Stick it right down in there. Remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So, you know, get yourself, we need to go to the right, to the left, I'm sorry. All right, so left that way. Make sure it's in there nice and tight, and then There we go. And just go ahead and get it out of there. Undo it until it's done, and then have a towel ready to kind of get it out so you don't make a mess, because there will be oil dripping out of it, out of the filter, that is. And there it is. You can pop this right off and inspect it. See if you have any metal shavings in there, any bigger pieces. As you can see, I used the oil filter that I showed you guys earlier. It looks in really good shape. Nothing really going on with it. No shavings, none of that stuff. So we're just going to replace that with the new one, and then wait until we finish draining all the oil, and then replace everything. So I'll show you how to install the new filter in there. Just one sec. All right, ladies and gents, so we're going to show you guys how to put a new filter on in the housing. The new filter comes like this from your purchase, the filter, and a new seal. Okay, so you're gonna have to put this aside for a sec. Take your old housing, and you can see right here, I don't know if you can see it, it's black on black. There's the old seal right there. You could take a pen or something you could get underneath with, and pop that guy right off. There we go. You see that? Came right off of that little groove. It's inside this groove, right below the ridge, right below the threads. There's a groove. That's where that little seal sits. So you could take it off and get it all the way off. Voila. You could toss that. I like to clean this a little bit and apply a little new oil to it. But let's take the new filter. Sorry about the noise, by the way. We're, like I said, in the middle of the street doing this oil change. Got the new filter right here. I'll leave that in the back for now. We got the new seal. I'm gonna take that out, put it right over, bring it down past the threads. A lot of people make this mistake. They leave it right here, right past the threads, but right past the threads is a little groove. It's a deep groove. I don't know if you can see it right here a little bit better. You got to bring that in over those grooves, into that groove. Use your pen again or a tool. That helps a lot. Bring it right into that groove. Make sure it gets in there, and you're good to go. So that's got the new seal on there. And then you take your filter so you don't make a mess. One end has the oil intake, and the other end is the seating grooves that are going to snap down into the filter. So just go ahead and place it in and push on it until it snaps in place and it moves around freely in its track. Okay, that's it. You're ready to go. So what I do now is I just keep this on the side, and then I'll reinstall it when I'm done draining the oil. So we're gonna do that next, so hang on. All right guys and girls, with that filter out, now we're just going to make sure we're gonna put the suctioning tube all the way down the dipstick until you feel resistance, and then it means you're at the bottom, and we can start there, and towards the end we want to push it a little bit more so maybe we can get the tube flat to suck any more from like maybe the end of it. So that's basically in all the way until I hit resistance, and now we're just gonna get pumping, and you'll be able to see here, not clearly, but once the oil comes in, you can see the difference between this and that, the white and the dark. So we're just gonna start pumping the exercise part of it, and you can start seeing it coming in. I like to give this about 30-40 pumps and then let it do its work. All right, ladies and gents, now that we got all the oil out, we got about we got really 12 quarts. So this truck doesn't really burn any oil, which I wouldn't expect it to. It's a pretty much newer truck, 2016. So I got about 12 quarts, right underneath 12 quarts out of the truck. So that's 2 full canisters all the way to the top, plus another to the first mark right there. So we got a full 12 quarts out. It's what I'm gonna do, all the used oil is in the oil pan here. I'm gonna recycle it. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put in the new oil right there, 3 full gallons. That's, remember, that's for my truck only because I have a larger oil pan because I stripped my previous one. So for you, look in your owner manuals. I think it's 10.5 quarts, I believe, of the 5W40, but check to make sure. We're gonna replace the oil filter, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to put the oil in and put the dipstick back in, and then put the cap on, and we're basically done. After all that, I'm going to put the used oil right into the now empty oil cans, and I'm going to recycle it. And your local, every city has a recycling center, so look up into your city where your recycling oil center is. Mine happens to be they take it at the Jiffy Lube, so if you have a Jiffy Lube, you might want to check there too. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna put on the filter back, and then we're gonna pour the oil and put the dipstick back in and make sure everything is buttoned up. Of course, don't forget to always put on your oil cap back on. And then I'll show you guys how to reset the mileage, and then we'll recycle the oil, and that's gonna do it. So here we go. We're gonna tighten up the we're gonna put the oil filter on and the oil in the car. Gentlemen, welcome back. So we're almost done. We've always make sure, I always come out here before I close the hood, make sure that I've tightened the oil filter, and I did. I've replaced the oil cap, which I did after adding oil, the required amount of oil. In my case, it was 3 full gallons because I have the AFE oil pan. In your case, if you have a OEM oil pan, it would be 10.5 quarts of 5W40 full synthetic oil, and it should say that right there on your cap. And finally, that you've secured your oil dipstick right back in its place. If you made sure all of that is done, you close the hood. Take a look, of course, at your other fluids. Brake fluid looks good. Radiator fluid looks good. You know, take a look at see if there's anything loose or out of the ordinary. And if you're satisfied, you close the hood. Now we're gonna go on inside and I'll show you guys how to reset the computer. By the way, these trucks require oil changes every 10,000 miles. I have not done, I have done my fuel filter, which is underneath the truck, and I'll show you guys in a video next time I do it. I generally do it every 2 oil changes, 2 to 3 oil changes. I'll change my fuel filter. It's usually very, very clean. I live in California. It's not too dusty, I don't drive on a farm or anything like that. So it doesn't necessarily require it. If you live in a place where there's a lot of dust or you're driving off-road a lot, you may need to do it every oil change. So let's go on inside and I'll show you how to reset. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the car. After you've made sure everything is tight and secure, you got oil in your car, you're gonna come down to the vehicle and reset the oil life meter. So in order to do that, you're gonna have to put the key in the ignition and turn it to run. You wanna have the key only to the run position. And then go into your oil life screen, which is under the vehicle, under the picture of the truck. And then you scroll through and you see a few other screens like battery voltage, gauge summary, engine hours, tire pressure, etc. To get to the oil life screen, and there you go. And in order to reset it, you hold the right arrow key, and it's going to bring it to a screen, confirm reset. You scroll down to OK, confirm, press to the right to confirm. Oops. There you go. I scrolled through fast. And it should say 100% till next oil change. And it will start counting down from 100%. There you go. That should do it. You're done. Just go ahead and drive it around. Take a look for, make sure there are no leaks or any funny noises. And you're done. So you could check some of the other screens here, you know, tire pressure, driving time. So my engine has got 475 hours, driving time 2,181 hours, and total 2,656 hours. That's pretty cool that it shows you all these things. Anyways, that's it. On Blast with MG out. Please subscribe to our channel, and if you've enjoyed the video, and comment if you like, if you have any questions. Bye-bye.